Can I congratulate the Counsel General on the calm and measured approach which he's brought to this, and in particular to applaud the way that he described the situation that we've now arrived at as a development which shouldn't be over-dramatised. I suppose that if there are bona fide legal doubts about the compatibility of the Continuity Bill with current legislation setting up this Assembly and devolving powers, it is right that the matter should be adjudicated, regrettable though that is. And I do agree with what Simon Thomas said, that this fundamentally is a political matter which should have been resolved at political level. And does he share my continued perplexity at the dilatoriness of the United Kingdom government in dealing with this matter, and that a government which ostensibly is devoted to the preservation of the United Kingdom is unnecessarily provoking a constitutional crisis which threatens to divide it? And if the leader of UKIP can say that, then we've got to a very strange state of affairs in British politics. And it is vitally necessary that the United Kingdom government, having approved the legislative settlement under which we exist, that that should not be undermined, certainly not explicitly or implicitly, by its own acts or intentions. And I cannot understand, therefore, why it is that the UK government has been so slow and continues apparently to be dilatory in its response to the arguments which have been put forward for what we all ultimately want to achieve. I'm perplexed by one of the grounds which are being cited by the Attorney General of incompatibility with EU law, given that the Continuity Bill will not come into force until we've actually legally left the EU. So I don't know whether the Counsel General has got any information on what is in the mind of the Attorney General on this point, or if this is perhaps an example of throwing the kitchen sink at us just in case. It all seems rather problematic and extraordinary, but that I'm pleased that the Counsel General is going to litigate the matter in the way that he has set out, because it is vitally necessary that any uncertainty or ambiguity should be resolved, and we can't be put into a position, which is what the Continuity Bill itself was designed to deal with, of there being some legislative lacuna in the law as it applies within Wales. So it's rather strange. We've got a situation now where the United Kingdom government is litigating a bill which we have put through this place, which was designed to avoid the situation of legal doubt existing when we leave the EU. So it's a paradox that perhaps this will ultimately resolve.
I share the view that's been expressed by a number of members that this is a matter which should be resolved at a political level. And just to be clear, that is the Welsh Government is approaching and has continuously and throughout approached the discussions with the other governments with that in mind. The objective has been throughout to reach an agreement in relation to the bill going through the UK Parliament, so that the process we have pursued in this place through an emergency process would not end up being necessary. I've said in the past, in response to other questions, that time has been running out for some time in relation to agreeing those amendments. But as I say, we are hopeful that we will get that over the line and agree amendments which we feel happy as a government to recommend to the Assembly with the other two governments. He raises one of the grounds which the Attorney General has cited, which relates to incompatibility with EU law. As I say, we are currently considering the analysis, and we will consider further when we get fuller arguments in due course, although obviously that was one of the grounds which had been contemplated in the discussions in this chamber and in the Llywydd's analysis in her statement. It seems to me that taking preparatory steps within existing powers for a time at which we are outside the European Union is what we have done in this place, in the same way, I may say, as the House of Commons has done with their bill.